أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين محمد بن عبد الله النبي الصادق الأمين وعلى آله وصحبه الطيبين الطاهرين وكل صحبه طيبون طاهرون وعلى من اتبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين وعنا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين اللهم آمين. عباد الله أوصيكم ونفسي أولا بتقوى الله العظيم وطاعته فإن تقوى الله عز وجل هي رأس الأمر كله. أحذركم ونفسي أولا عن مخالفة أمره ونهيه فإن معصيته عز وجل هي أساس البلاء كله. ونعوذ به سبحانه وتعالى من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد يحيي ويميت وهو على كل شيء قدير. ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله الله عز وجل بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله ولو كره المشركون. ثم أما بعد يقول الله عز وجل في كتابه الكريم بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. This ayah, everyone is memorizing it. Alhamdulillah. All you who believe, Ramadan fasting has been prescribed upon you as it has been to people before you, so that you may attain the taqwa. Now when we talk about this ayah, we can talk about it day and night without filtering topics related to this ayah. One of is that, which is very important, that it is addressing us in a plural form. So it's not just addressing us as individuals, although we as individuals are included in the plural address, but it came in a plural form, which means that we have ummah dimension, collective dimension to the fasting. And I cannot at all talk about all topics related to Ramadan or to fasting in one khutbah. This is impossible. But nevertheless, I can talk about one important issue related to our time, although the other issues are related to our time. One important issue is that month of Ramadan nowadays, in general, is taken to be a month of iftar, a month of gathering together to consume iftar and sahur, a month of national celebration, and so on. Ramadan is not meant to be like this. Although we have to fast, although we have to break our fast by the sunset, and although we are recommended to have suhoor before the fajr, that all of this is granted. This is taken. But Ramadan is not meant to be limited to this. Ramadan is meant, from among many things, to be a month of action, a month of change. And if we look to the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ, we'll see that two big events took place in Ramadan. The Battle of Badr, which is the most important battle in the entire history of the entire humanity. Had Muslims been defeated in the Battle of Badr, we wouldn't be nowadays gathered to pray Jumah. So it is the most important battle in the entire history of mankind. It's not Waterloo, it's not Leningrad, it's not Stalingrad, it's not this battle or that battle, it is the Battle of Badr. The most important battle in the entire history of the entire humanity took place in Ramadan. Rasulullah ﷺ didn't wait until Ramadan is over. Didn't say, oh, how can I leave my i'tikaf and go to engage Quraish? Not at all. He engaged Quraish in the Battle of Badr, in the Battle of Badr in Ramadan. The second event that happened also during the month of Ramadan is the liberation of Makkah. The liberation of Makkah, as we know, happened in Ramadan. Fath Makkah and Ghazwat Badr. This tells us that the Prophet ﷺ did not look at the spiritual aspect of Ramadan separated from the daily aspect. Whatever is needed in daily life, even if it goes as far as engaging others, Quraish, let it be Ramadan or any other month. Now, there are special rules for sacred months that Ramadan is not among the sacred months. But Ramadan did not stop Rasulullah ﷺ from carrying out the responsibility as it should be. Nowadays, let's move to our current situation. Nowadays, some of us would just take Ramadan as a month of spirituality. He just wants to get into exclusion, sitting in a masjid or in their room at home, just devoted to Salah and to read Quran. Although it has to be. We need to read Quran. We need to pray. No doubt about this. But this is not at all the end of our responsibility. Our responsibility goes beyond than that. This is part of our responsibility. Part of duties we have to carry out in the month of Ramadan. The other point, which is very much related to our time, this month, Ramadan, is the second month in which people in Palestine and in Gaza are under siege and under attack. We do get together to fast and to break our fasting. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, we should be thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But also let's remember that there are people who don't find food. You look at the YouTube and you see iftar, collective iftar in Gaza. This is offered by some organizations. And it is done actually in a challenging way. So I say Ramadan is not a month of decoration, but in Gaza they did have decoration, and that decoration is actually a challenge. Part of telling a message. They are not doing it out of quote-unquote national identity or imitating others. They have decorations there, religious occasions, let's do it. No, they are doing it to show that, wait a minute, we are here. This is our cause, this is our land. Ramadan, inshallah, we are celebrating it, but we are here. And they should be there. But this brings out another issue comes with it. In this month of Ramadan, the League of Arab States, this is the official name, it's not Al-Jami'a Al-Arabiyya, it's Jami'at Al-Dawal Al-Arabiyya, the League of Arab States. And they chose this name purposefully. They refused when they met to talk about the mithaq, the covenant of the Jami'ah, of the League. Some of them said, let's call it a Jami'ah al-Arabiyya, Arab League. Others said, no, it must be Jami'ah al-Dawal al-Arabiyya, the League of Arab States, to emphasize the division. Because if they say a Jami'ah al-Arabiyya, it can include all Arabs without looking at the political borders. But when you say Jami'at al-Dawal al-Arabiyya, the League of Arab States, you are focusing on the division. Anyway, this league, the League of Arab States, which by the way was initiated by the British Foreign Minister Anthony Eden, that's why I call it actually Jami'at Eden, Eden's League. So what happened, they called for a summit in Cairo, and they called it Qummat Palestine Summit. And they issued resolutions, mashallah. You look at the resolutions, fantastic. We have to help people of Palestine in rebuilding their homeland and on staying in their homeland. People in Palestine are pushed to the corner, to the two difficult options. Either you'll leave your country or you'll be eliminated. That Egypt will work with other countries to talk about the setup after the war. We have to reconstruct Gaza. And actually, the UN Secretary General said something much better than, he attended the conference, much better than what the so-called Arab leaders said. He said that recovering in Gaza, and of course in Palestine, because again, the attack not in Gaza. Look at the camps in Tulkarem and Jenin, unbelievable. So he said that the basis for recovery in Gaza is not limited and restricted to the cement and to the building, but al karam, but based on dignity, based on honor, based on letting them settle in their town, in their country, free of ethnic cleansing. So look at things beyond than building a new building and having a new streets and so-called recovering the hospital. They need this, but they need something beyond than that. Al-Karama. And there is no Karama, no dignity under occupation at all. With occupation, there is humiliation. Whether you talk about Gaza or Jerusalem or Haifa or Beersheba or Akka or any other area occupied even in 1948. And you go and ask people who are living there since 1948, they'll tell you about the life, the difficulty of life they are going through. Till now. There were, at one time, they used to be seized in ghettos. People of Jaffa, they were collected in one quarter, and they had a fence. The Zionists had a fence around the quarter. You cannot live outside that fence. It's like the indigenous reservations here, indigenous people reservations here. So there is no karama with occupation, no matter where it is, in Kashmir or in Palestine. If there is occupation, there is no karama in Sunni. So what I mean, go back to the resolutions of the Arab Summit Conference. This is what it talks about. When I read the resolutions, I recalled the first Arab Summit was held in 1946. Talk about 1946 and 2024, very big, over than 80 years. 1946 till 20, you talk about 54, and you have 24, 78 years, or 78, 79, around this time. But you go and read the resolutions of that conference, very much similar to the resolutions of the current conference. I went over and I saw the resolutions. They are saying very general, vague statements, such as defending Palestine, that Palestine is the heart of our cases, that other Arab territories like Libya, because at that time it was occupied by the Italians, must have its independence. And the very same states that joined that conference sent their army to fight in Palestine, and they were the ones who facilitated the occupation. That's the problem. Arab armies, Jewish Al-Arqam, are the ones who really helped the Zionist gangs at that time to take over. And you can read and write books about this. So it's just a lip service. And then we have another conference in 1964. They claim that they are having it to face the challenge Israel started talking about. Israel at that time started talking about diverting the river, Jordan River. Jordan River is very important for Jordan and for Jordan Valley, and it gets to the Dead Sea. So diverting it, the whole situation in the area would be changed. So they have their conference, and they decided to build a dam, and Israel came and knocked down the dam. No one talked about this. That's it, okay, finished, done. And after that, 1967 war happened, and another round of turning the land to Israel knowingly, and unfortunately. And then in 1974, another conference. That was in city of Rabat in Morocco. They declared that PLO is the only representative for people in Palestine. And after that, we know what happened, and we know what PLO is doing now in the West Bank. There's no need to talk about it. A Syrian poet, rahimahullah, Umar Abu Risha, he recited poetry at that time talking about that summit. And he said, addressing the Arab leaders, إن خُوطبوا كذبوا أو طولبوا غضبوا أو حوربوا هربوا أو صُحبوا غدروا. If you address them, they will be lying. If you ask them for something, for your right, they'll be mad and angry. If they are entered into a fighting, they will just leave the fighting and run away. And if you try to establish friendship with them, with the Arab leaders, غدروا, they will betray you. خافوا على العار أن يمحى فكان لهم على الرباط لدعم العار مؤتمر. They were worried that the shame in the occupation would be removed, so they had their conference in Rabat to establish the shame, to reinforce the shame, so that it will not be removed. And this is what happened in the 1974 conference. I remember that. And I remember 1964 conference. Nothing happened good for people. And then he said, على أرائكهم. They are sitting, those rulers, on their ara'ik, on their عروش. سبحان خالقهم. عاشوا وما شعروا ماتوا وما قدروا. They live, but they don't have the feeling of the life. They died, but they are not buried yet. And this is right. This is right. 1967 war should have changed the map of the Middle East. It's not changed. The very same ruler, the same system. The difference is the person who is occupying that position. Can be Abdel Nasser, now it's Sisi. Maybe till now the only change in this is the change in Syria. It was Hafez al-Assad who turned Golan Heights to Israel. Now, with the new government, the new setup, inshallah Rabbil Alameen, hopefully, inshallah they will keep in the right track and not get hostage to any foreign superpower. Inshallah Rabbil Alameen. But you talk about in Jordan and other areas, the same setup. Nothing has changed since 1948, actually, till now. 1948, you talk about how much, subhanallah, and we lost the track. How many years? Okay, around 80 years. So nothing has changed. So this is what's happening now, and this is what's happening in Ramadan, and this is how Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam looked at Ramadan. So a person would say, okay, after all, what can we do? I keep repeating the very same ayah which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addressed us with. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِقَوْمٍ حَتَّى يُغَيِّرُوا مَا بِأَنفُسِهِمْ. Allah is not going to change the situation of people until and unless they change what is within themselves. So as an example, when we read the ayah, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الصِّيَامُ, do we look at the affairs of Muslim Ummah? Do we keep this collective obligation when we read the ayah, or we just focus on our own quote-unquote salvation? Do we look at the situation of our brothers and sisters in Kashmir, in China, in Sudan, in Yemen, in Palestine, in Libya? Libya, just a few days ago, you know what happened is that there is a series of fires set in homes. Okay, God knows who did it. And people start talking, oh, this is the jinn. It's not the jinn. It's a murderer who set this fire in these homes. Not just one home or two homes, 3 homes or 4 or 5. It's a murder. It's a criminal act. Don't put it on the jinn. We are the jinn. There is jinn, of course, we believe in the jinn. No problem. But if we are carrying out these acts and put every blame on the jinn, which is the shaitan, then we are the ones who are shaitan. The ones who are doing that. So, and the ones who are putting the blame on the shaitan. Shaitan, in the day of judgment, will tell his followers that I did not have right or power over you, other than I called you and you responded, you accepted. I didn't force you. So Satan or Iblis will not force anyone to carry out anything. He did not force Hafez al-Assad to sell the Jumah. He did not force people here and there to do this and to do that. Not at all. They decided to do it. Yes, and the whispering of Shaitan, according to one Mufassir, Al-Tahir bin Ashur, rahimahullah, he said, when he talked about Tafsir Surat al-Nas, he said we need to remember that the whispering comes from the Shaitan al-Jinn, which is Iblis, and Shaitan al-Ins, from among human beings, because the Shaitan can be from both, and the Al-Quran talked about this. That Shaitan can be from the Jinn, and the Shaitan can be from among the Ins. And he said, we should be more concerned about the whispering of Shaitan al-Ins more than our concern about Shaitan al-Jinn, about Iblis. Why? Because he said, the one who comes to you, whispering to you, he knows you, you talk to him, maybe you traveled with him, maybe you have a dealing with him, interacted with him, he knows what you like, what you dislike, so he will approach you knowing what is the right approach, and he starts beautifying to you the haram. Drinking, or riba, or zina, and we hear now all justification for justifying the haram. All of these justifications came from Shayateen al-Ins. that it's okay for the zina. Why? Why? Because if you have boyfriend, girlfriend, this is said in many Arab media outlets. If it is a boyfriend, girlfriend relationship or musakana, as long as they agree on it, with no marriage, it's fine. No problem. As an example, wine, Allah didn't say it is prohibited. It said just stay away from it. It didn't say don't drink. As an example, look to the logic of people's shayateen. So, shayateen will try to beautify things to us more than the others. So when we talk about إن الله لا يغير ما بقوم حتى يغيروا ما بأنفسهم, we need to change our mindset. We need, when we read the ayat al-Siyam, to think about the affairs of Muslim Ummah. Let's not be just focused on our own salvation. Yes, we need to have Qiyam al-Layl, no doubt about this. Yes, we have to fast, no doubt about this. Yes, we have to help each other and maybe even have collective iftar and potluck iftar. All of this is fine, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, is needed. But also, what we need also to think about the Muslim Ummah. Those who cannot, in China, they cannot fast at all. Imagine this. So, do we think about the Muslim Ummah? This is one point, just one point. The other point, do we look at the Hukum Shar'i as our standard in our daily life, or we do look at the Hukum Shar'i selectively? So if it fits within my whims and desires and interests, I will take it. If it's not, I will not. I know some sisters who, alhamdulillah, mashallah, they used to pray and everything. In the inheritance, they argued with their brothers who don't want this equation that is mentioned in our Quran Kareem. And there are some other brothers at the same time, they will go to their sisters, they'll tell them, what do you want? Do you want to share the inheritance, or do you want a support from us? So both options are wrong. So but both sides do pray and make hajj and make sadaqah, but the point is their mindset about the hukum shar'i, what needs to be changed. So if we did not change our attitude and the way we look to Islam, this situation will continue. And to do so, we need to do it collectively, inshallah رب العالمين. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروا الله عز وجل إنه يغفر الذنوب جميعا. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الحمد لله رب العالمين على هدايتنا للإسلام. الحمد لله رب العالمين الذي جعل مقياس أعمالنا الحلال والحرام. الحمد لله رب العالمين الذي ألف بين قلوبنا. الحمد لله رب العالمين الذي جعلنا إخوانا في الدين. الحمد لله رب العالمين الذي وحد بين صفوفنا. الحمد لله رب العالمين في كل زمان وحين. Muslims maintained what we talked about throughout their history, despite of some eras of weakness. Muslim history witnessed ups and downs. We know it. Not all of it is glory. We have that side in our history. But even at the time of the defeat, Muslims were able to have impact on their enemies. Even in the Crusader War, we were occupied. Muslims affected the Crusaders. Some of them, after Palestine was liberated, they chose to stay in Palestine. They refused to go back to Europe. And some Christian families living in Palestine till now, their roots go to the Crusaders. Some of them became Muslims, some of them didn't become, because Islam does not force any person to become Muslim. It's your choice. La ikraha fi din. So, but now, if I would say, or for not but now, I would say even now, with what's happening, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, Islam is spreading. the disasters happening, with all of the killing, with all of the attacks and the occupation, right and left, alhamdulillah, Islam is spreading. Kalimatullah Azza wa Jal will prevail. Inshallah. That's not a question. We cannot question this. Kalimatullah will prevail. Alhamdulillah. But the question is, are we going to be part of it, of this process or not? That's the question. So inshallah Rabbil Alameen, each one of us will be a part of this process. And how can we be a part of this process? By engaging with each other in this discussion and try to figure out, okay, where to go from there. بإذن الله عز وجل. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم وبارك اللهم على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم آت نفوسنا تقواها وزكها أنت خير من زكاها رب العالمين. اللهم لا تدع في مقامنا هذا ذنبا إلا غفرته ولا مريضا إلا شفيته ولا حاجة من حوائج الدنيا لنا فيها خير ولك فيها رضا إلا يسرتها وقضيتها رب العالمين. اللهم ردنا إلى دينك ردا جميلا ولا تبق فينا خائنا ولا عميلا. اللهم ردنا إلى دينك ردا جميلا ولا تبق فينا خائنا ولا عميلا. اللهم ردنا إلى دينك ردا جميلا ولا تبق فينا خائنا ولا عميلا. اللهم كن مع المظلومين وكن مع المستضعفين وكن مع المجاهدين رب العالمين. انصرهم على أعدائهم كن عونا لهم لا عونا عليهم. عباد الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. قوموا إلى صلاة الجمعة يرحمكم الله وأقيموا الصلاة.